What's up, everybody, and welcome to the channel. It's finally here, the game is finally out. And as I teased with my two previous videos, I'm gonna do a Roma save where I try to bring back the Scudetto tactic that Roma used during their 2000 and 2001 season. Now, I made my manager and I'm into the game right now with all the preferences that I used to use, a large database, and I took, I think, South Africa continent, all the players there. So let's just go ahead and make the tactic here. I'm just going to pick the vertical tiki-taka here because that's the one that I'm thinking about using. And then go ahead and make the tactic that I used in the beta here. So it looked like this. Right, so we have the central defender. He's going to be a ball playing defender on cover, and these two are going to be wide center backs. And I'm actually thinking of starting them out as attack. No, we're going to take supports for now and see how they're going to do that. Wing backs both, that's fine. So one central midfielder, and the other is going to be, I'm going to start out with a box-to-box midfielder just to see how he performs. And I'm going to actually start with Pellegrini here, so he's going to be a trequartista. The other one is going to be a deep lying on attack, and the other one is going to be advanced forward. So this is the main tactics, just the tactic part. Now we're going to make this part here, so I'm going to take all of this off, put my temper to higher, more express, that's fine, and then fairly wide attacking width. But we're going to play with these during the games and during the season to see how we play and to get as close to the Roma tactic as possible. In transition, this looks fine. I'm going to distribute to fullbacks also and remove the short kicks. And yeah, this looks fine also. I'm going to just use the standard trigger pressing here and don't prevent this and don't use offside trap. So this is the tactic that I'll be using, and yeah, I'm going to go ahead and set up training and my coaches and so on. I'm going to cut that out, but if you really want to see how I set my training up and how my coaches are doing individual trainings, then I can show that in a different video. So to just look at the specific player roles and instructions, the central midfielder, he's going to hold his position because I need one player to be in the central part of the pitch no matter what. So I need him to hold his position right here because this one is a box-to-box midfielder, and as a natural part of his roles, it's to roam from position. So as you can see, if he goes forward up here and my central midfielders go over here, then there's a huge part here in the middle where nobody's covering it. So I really need one guy to stay here. I'm even actually considering using my central midfielder on defend, but I'm going to test it out right now to see first in how it performs right here, and then we're going to change it up as we go. My wing backs, I'm actually going to use them as wider because I really need some width, and they are the only players on my pitch that can provide that width. So that's the only instruction that I'm gonna give them. Actually, it's stay wider. Yeah, and I don't think I'm gonna give any other instruction to any other player because the trequartista just has a lot of instructions from the get-go. It's one of those roles that just have a lot of instructions, so you really need to be sure that your player can perform these actions, and you need to be sure that the tactic that you're using can support the trequartista role, because as you can see, he's just gonna do the specific things. So he's not a defensive player, and if you expect him to track back and do a lot of defending, this is not the player role that you need to use. All right, my central defender here, the one that has to stay back, I'm gonna do him as dribble less because I don't want him to taking any chances with dribbling and so on, and I actually don't want him to hold position because if he wants to go forward, that's fine. And the last one is going to be my deep lying forward. He's going to do I want him to roam from position? Actually, I do want him to roam position and go out here actually. So that's my player rules. There's 3 players, actually more players: the deep lying, the CM, and my wing backs and my central defender, but it's just minor changes. But as I mentioned, we're going to go through this during my pre-season friendlies and then during the initial games. But we're gonna change the tactics and tweak it during my campaign. And so yeah, this is probably not the tactic that I'm gonna end up with at the end of the season. And as you might have seen with my beta season, I did use Zaniolo here as a shadow striker, and he really did a good job with that. So I might even put him back here. The plan is to use Abraham and Zaniolo here, but I might put Zaniolo here and then Pellegrini down as central midfielder. It's not true to the Roma tactic from 2001, so that's why I'm hesitant to actually use that tactic. But yeah, I'm gonna cut here and then get back to you once all the trainings and scoutings and whatever has been done, and then once we start our first friendly game. So I'll see you later. So we are going into the first match as AS Roma manager, and this is just a friendly with our U20 team. So I'm just interested in seeing how the tactics is gonna play out. Here's a quick lineup. As you can see, I'm just doing my first 12. I'm missing a couple of players because they are on international duty, I think. So it will be some reserves, but I'm mostly trying these preseason friendlies to try to get a grip on my starting 11. So I'll definitely be playing my best players. So yeah, let's just all of these. Yeah. Let's just go ahead and kick the game off and see where we end up. Now, I'm just gonna do a quick pause here because I usually play the game in 2D. This is what I prefer. So I'm gonna play the game without sound and in 2D. This is just a classic football manager experience for me. So let's go ahead and see if the players can do anything good here in this game. So first goal here, and it's nice play through the middle here to Zaniolo, and this is exactly what Zaniolo was good at during my beta run. He was just a real good player at finding those small spaces. As you can see, he made the right run there, got the ball, and just placed it in the far corner. Really good attacking play from Zaniolo here. This is the main concern I have with playing trequartista in the position that Zaniolo plays, because he wouldn't be able to make those run and those finishes. So I will be testing once Pellegrini gets back how he does in the trequartista and Zaniolo in the shadow striker. So I'm gonna look at this and then maybe make the final change. And yeah, we already got another chance here. Karstorp, yeah, he just kind of ran into the defenders there and took a poor shot at the goal. So, but yeah, it's a good start so far. As you can see, I'm going to use the same tactics for my U20 team because I want them to be able to train the tactics and get players that can play the tactic that I'm using my first team, because my plan is to use some of the youth players that come through my system. Roma are famous for their youth teams and the players that came through youth team. Totti, obviously, De Rossi, Florenzi, Aquilani when he came through, Romagnoli, the defender from Milan. So, and Abraham just scored here. I'm not that concerned about the results in this match because we are playing our U20 team, so we're definitely going to beat them. I'm just looking at how my players perform in the tactic and are they doing what I want them to do. And this was a really nice pass from Diawara who found Abraham here. I don't want too many crosses from my backs. I don't want them running to the byline and then putting the ball inside. I want to get the ball to my attackers before that. So this is really nice. This is a nice combination here from Diawara and Abraham. So as you can see here, I really like the positional. This is just typical. I was just gonna say I like how my team are positioned here when defending, and then then my youth team go ahead and scores a goal here. It's just typical football manager. But yeah, besides this, I really like how my team was positioned, and Kumbola was just really slow to pick up Gian here, our young player. That was on him, I think, especially because I don't play with offside traps, so he shouldn't have let that player go. But yeah, fortunately, it's just a friendly. I'm gonna tweak this some more to be sure that this doesn't happen in a Serie A game. Yeah, I'm 16 minutes into the game and it's still 2-1. I don't think my central midfielders are doing a good job in keeping the ball and getting the ball forward. But I don't have Cristante or Pellegrini, two of my better midfielders, so I'm kind of hoping that it will be better. Yeah, that's again nice play here, and Zaniolo with a chip here to score to 3-1. It was a nice passing combination through the middle with Abraham, Zaniolo, and I think Vertut. Yeah, Zaniolo starts here with the run through the middle, finds Vertut, who finds Abraham, who finds Zaniolo, and then the chip here. Nice play. This is really the type of play I am interested in. First 1-2 combinations, and yeah, a nice and easy goal here. So nice play from here, and I hope to see more of this in the Serie A campaign. So I'm using Mancini here, number 23, as a wide playing center back, and just look how far he came. He came all the way up here to participate in the attack, and he just scored. Talking about the devil, Mancini just scored a header here. So this role is really gonna make or break this tactic, I think, and it's an offside, but yeah, it's fine. Ibanez and Mancini that are going to play the wide center back are really going to be important players for me because I want them to push higher up and provide that passing opportunity to our midfield. So yeah, I'm looking forward to keeping an eye on these two players. So we won the game 4-2, as you can see here, and watching this game put me kind of in a dilemma because Zaniolo had a really good game in the role as a shadow striker, and that's the role I've been most confused about because I really want to play as a trequartista there, just because Roma did play a trequartista as Totti played there, but Zaniolo is just so good as a shadow striker. So I'm kind of split between using a shadow striker or a trequartista. Actually, the next game I might even try Zaniolo at that position as a trequartista and see how he does that, because Zaniolo is just a good player. I mean, just look at those stats, and he's only 22 years old. So, yeah, I'm gonna keep using him definitely. So we'll see how we're going to play Zaniolo, but he's definitely going to play. And I also put a lot of players. Well, a lot, but I put a lot of players on the transfer list because I just don't think that they're good enough for Roma, and they're on some high wages. Fazio, I put him for sale, and I think he's going to go. I put Mancini for sale, Santone for sale, and VR for sale, and then there was one more. Yeah, Mkhitaryan and Perez. So there's actually a lot of players I ever put up for sale. I just want to get rid of them because some of these players don't fit into my tactics, and those are the players that play wings, for example, Perez. And some other players that are just not good enough, or like Mkhitaryan that is good enough, but he's just on a big wage, 87 a week here, and I'm really strapped for cash, so I really need to get rid of these players. I mean, yeah, 76. I even think Smalling, he's almost on 100k. Yeah, I need to get rid of those players because my financiers are not that good. I have some actually. I have currently spending, so I'm actually almost spending everything that I can spend, as you can see. So I really need to get rid of some of those players, especially because I want to bring some players into the squad. So yeah, I think I'm gonna skip forward a couple of these friendlies, and then right before our first Serie A game, we're gonna talk about how we performed in those friendlies and how the players perform, and if we bought or sold any players. So see you then. So I forgot to talk a little about the club vision when we accepted this job as manager of AS Roma. As you can see, they really want to focus on the the younger players, sign players under 23, and develop players using our own youth system. And then they want to sign high reputation players, which is going to be a little bit difficult given that we don't have a lot of transfer budget. I mean, just look for this year. Set to max, we have £10 million. That's just not enough to sign any high reputation players. So this one is going to be a little bit difficult, but fortunately, the importance is only favored. It's not preferred or desired or required. So that's pretty good. Now, 5-year plan, that's something interesting. They want to build a new stadium, which is actually the first time I've seen this as a club vision. So I'm really looking forward to see if we will actually get a new stadium. Roma in real life are also looking for building a stadium, so it matches the real life counterpart, as you can say. Work within wage budget, which is just something I usually do when I play a football manager game. So this is going to be an easy one, and then increase commercial revenue is also an interesting one. And then they want to challenge for Serie A here in this must be next season, and then win it the season after. So this is going to be a little bit difficult maybe to achieve so fast, but I'm looking forward to the challenge. All right, guys, our friendlies are done. As you can see here, I did win the last two friendlies with a nice amount of goals. But let's just take a deep dive. I wasn't really satisfied with these two games because I only won 1-0, even though I had a crap load of chances. But yeah, as you can see, I did give up some chances, but those were mostly in the second half where I changed my whole team. But yeah, I had a lot of chances, but still only won 1-0. So that wasn't that good. And the same with Perugia here. I had a lot of chances again. My SG was over 3, so I actually played a good game, but just not enough goals. And then the other two games, I scored more goals, but I did also create a lot of chances. And the same here with the last game where I won 4-1. I again created really a lot of chances. So I'm actually quite satisfied with the way I have been playing. The goals didn't come at first, but it did come later where I actually started scoring a lot of goals. So going into the first couple of Serie A matches, I'm actually quite positively in a positive mood because I think the amount of chances that I will create will be enough to win these games. Luckily, I'm starting out against Venezia, their first time in Serie A, and Fiorentina, which will be a little tougher game. And then I got 5 games that I should be winning here until I meet Milan and then Napoli, which are going to be 2 difficult games. But let's talk a little bit about transfers, because I actually bought a player. I bought where can I see? I can see it actually in here. I actually bought Belotti. I really needed a good deep line forward, so I went ahead and bought him because I knew he was on his last year of the contract, and I actually got him fairly cheap, a cheap starting cost of £7 million, and then a lot of additional costs that can result into £28 million total. But those will not be paid this year. I have one clause that I think after he plays 50 games, and there's just no chance he's going to play 50 games. And yeah, if you look at his stats, he's actually a pretty good player. I'm gonna use him not as a pressing forward, I think, but more as either a false 9 or a deep line playing forward. Deep line forward. So I'm really looking forward to actually using him together with Tammy. He didn't score my last 2 games where I had him, but he did actually have a very high average rating. He did contribute a lot, so I think those two will be a very good combination. I'm looking to get rid of El Sharawi. I listed him, but there's currently no one that's willing to buy him. He's on a fairly high wage also, so I really want to get rid of him because Mayoral and Shomurodov are going to be fine backups for Tammy and Belotti. I sold some players also. I ended up selling Perez. I didn't get a lot of for him as I was hoping, or only 5 mils, but I was just looking to get rid of his wages. And the same here for Mkhitaryan, only 7 mil, but at least I did get rid of his wages. Sanson and Fazio also got sold, so I actually saved a lot of money in the wage department. I'm still looking to sell a couple of players. I'm still looking to sell Chris, and I'm looking to bring in another defender. That's my priority right now because I need another central defender to because I used 3 and right now only have actually Chris Smalling, and he's injured as a backup. So I definitely need another defender because I'm actually looking to use Cristante and Diawara as backup defenders, especially 2 wide defenders that are going forward. BR, I also want to sell, but currently there's no one willing to give more than 5 million for him. That's just not enough, so I'm just holding on to him for now. So yeah, it'll be really interesting to see the start of the season and see how my team's going to perform with this tactics. Yeah, as you can see, I didn't make an offer for Süle, and we actually came to an agreement, actually pretty cheap, but his wage demand was just too high that I didn't want to use the cash on. I mean, he wanted, I think it was 120,000 pounds per week, and that's just too much for me. So I'm looking for another defender, even though he's probably a good defender. But right now, I just don't have the money to pay for him. So, yeah, this is gonna be this for this episode. Next episode, we're gonna start playing the Serie A, the first couple of games in Serie A. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how the team performs. So I'll see you later, guys, and thank you for watching.